Hello and welcome to this tutorial for the board game Everdell. Most people very much enjoy playing this game, and as you can see it's quite nice to look at. But let's get to the explanation of it. You are going to play until all the players have dropped out of the game. Then you count up all the points, and whoever has the most is the winner. Points are on the cards. Some cards also say that you get extra points if you managed to reach a particular goal. You have these point tokens. You have these little boards that you can get during the game. They have points on them. And you have these smaller cards that you can get during the game. They also say what you get bonus points for. Count everything up. If you have the most points, you are the winner. Let me quickly get back to how long the game is. You start with having 2 of these workers. When it's your turn, you can either place one of these on the board or play a card. At some point, you won't be able to do that anymore. You have no more workers to place, and you can't play a card. In other words, you're stuck. In that case, when it's your turn, you take back all your workers and the one that's up here on the tree on the left side, under the word spring. And then when it's your turn again, you can take your action. Of course, at some point again, you'll get stuck because you can't do anything anymore. 0 workers left and you can't play a card. Then again, when it's your turn, you take all your workers back from the board and the one up here on the tree under the word summer. Later, when it's your turn again, you can take an action. And finally, when it happens again, when you're stuck because you can't do any action, you do that one last time. Take back all your workers from the board, plus the 2 extra workers up here on the tree under the word autumn. Then you have 6 workers to use. Of course, at some point you will again have done all you can. You've placed all your workers and you played all the cards you could play. Then, for you, the game is over. You are out of the game. It's possible that there are 1 or more players still going. They go on for as long as they can. When everyone has left the game, then it's over and you count up all your points. Now, how do you play the game? What do you do when it's your turn? When it's your turn, you can do one thing, and you have 2 options to choose from. 1. Place one of your workers on a space and do whatever it says. Or 2. Play a card. That's it. When it's your turn, you can place a worker or play a card. Let's start with placing a worker. Every space you can place a worker is a circle with a paw print on it. Some of those spaces are on the board, these spaces here, but also down here and up here on these little boards. And it's even possible to see a space to place a worker on one of the cards that you have open in front of you, or on a card that's open in front of another player. If the circle is complete, like these ones, that means only 1 worker can be in that space. First come, first serve. And if a circle is open, like this one, that means there can be as many workers in this space as you want. It's open to everyone. I'll explain some of these worker spaces in a moment. First, I'd like to explain how you do the second thing you can choose to do when it's your turn. Play a card. When it's your turn, instead of placing your worker, you can choose to play a card. You can play a card that you have in your hand, or one of these 8 cards that are open in this area. This is the meadow. Each card shows on the left side what you have to pay to play it. If you don't have it, you can't use it. But when you do pay for it and play it, you place it open here in front of you. This is your own little village. You can have a maximum of 15 cards in front of you. There are 2 types of cards. Cards with animals on them and cards with buildings on them. The ones with animals on them are called critters. The cards with buildings on them are called constructions. If a card says that it's unique, that means you can have only one of them in your own area. And a lot of cards with animals on them, the critters, will say that you can play it for free if you happen to already have the building that it's asking for. For example, I have an inn here in my own area. I paid for it when it was my turn and I placed it here. Here in the meadow, I can see this card that shows the innkeeper, that either costs this many berries or that it's for free when you have an inn. I have one, so when it's my turn, I just take this card and place it open in front of me. The only thing I have to do is then place one of these little round tokens on the card here. It stays here until the end of the game. This indicates I have used my chance to get a card for free. So again, when it's my turn, I can choose to place a card here in front of me. I can take one from my hand or one that's open here on the board. I pay the price and then place it. If you took it from the meadow, at the end of your turn, you refilled the empty space. And that's it. This is how you play Everdell. When it's your turn, you either place one of your workers and take your reward, or play a card. Now for some important details. If you look at the board, you can see that most of the spaces where you can place a worker will easily show you what you get when you put it there. This one shows 3 wood, so when you place your worker here, you get 3 wood. Easy. But you can also place your worker on one of these boards. If you have what it's asking for, you can place it on the board. When it's time to take back your workers, you can take the little board as well, and that will give you points at the end of the game. You could also place one of your workers on these small cards on the tree. If you have what the card is asking for, you put your worker on it. And when it's time to take your workers back, you also take this small card and keep it with you for bonus points at the end of the game. And finally, you can place your workers on cards. If you see one of those circles with a paw print, that means it's a place to put your worker. If it's in front of you in your own area, you can use it. And if it happens to have the word open on it, that means other players can put their worker on your card as well. If they do, you get a reward. One last thing. If you see this icon, that means you can take a resource of your choice. This means take anything you like. We're almost done. Back to the cards. As you can see, each card has something written on it that will speak for itself. But each card also has an icon. I'll explain those, but you can always look them up in the rulebook. If it has this purple icon, that means whatever it says on this card is points at the end of the game. If it has this brown icon, that means you get whatever it says on the card immediately and then never again. If it has this blue icon, that means from then on you always get to do whatever it says on the card. And if it shows this green icon, that means you get whatever it says immediately. And again, when you take a worker here from spring, and one last time when you take your workers here from autumn. This last icon you already know. Cards with this icon on it are places where you can place a worker on. Don't forget, you can have only 15 cards open in front of you, and your hand limit is 8. You can't have more than 8 cards in your hand. Whenever you can take a card, you always take it from the deck here. And when you discard cards, you always place them here, face down. We're done! This is how you play Everdell. You keep going until every player is out of the game and then see who has the most points. When it's your turn, you can place a worker, or play a card, or skip a turn to take back all your workers and a new one from up here on the tree. Also look at the tree for the extra bonus you get when you take your worker. I hope you feel like you really understand how this game goes and that you'll enjoy it. Thank you for watching this tutorial. Feel free to leave a comment and see you for the next one.